Good day to you. My name is Peter Jordan, and today I want to talk to you about reactions and how it triggers all of us. But first of all, I'd like to introduce to you again Chanel and Karen. Thank you very much for being my guinea pigs in this pioneering effort on it. So this in this video, reactions is a very, very important thing for all of us to understand. What I have done in previous videos, I've explained the subconscious mind and I've explained how things work. And I'd just like to revisit some of the mechanisms of the way that it works. First of all, remember, we had the subconscious mind, and you went through and you experienced various kinds of things that happened to you. And when you experience these things, these are the things that you, when it was a negative or a positive thing, then it is that on the negative side, it recorded what actually happened, and then it recorded how you felt about this thing when this thing happened, and it also recorded what it is that you thought about this thing when it happened. And then this thing ended up in your energy field around you. And I just depict this thing as this issue, which is going to be the tissue. And the reason I use the tissue is just to, it's a process that as we talk more and more through through our whole program, it is when I raise the tissue, then you know this is an issue or it's a trigger point in us. Okay. Now what happens is that this sits here in our energy field, and when a situation out there happens and it matches this tissue, this issue in energy, then this is triggered in you. And when it's triggered in you, this is what you look through, and you don't see the person in front of you, you see this past event of something. Okay, and this is really crucial that it is that you get that. Every single reaction that you have, and this is important, every single reaction that you have has got nothing to do with the person in front of you or the situation. Nothing. It's got to do with you, this past event, okay? What happened in there? And this is being triggered in you. Okay. So now I want to tell you a little story about a client, and I'm going to call her Mrs. A, and I'm going to call him Mr. B. So Mrs. A grew up in a family where the mother was an alcoholic. And the mother used to take all sorts of bottles or plastic things and hide them all over the house, where it is that she could put her alcohol in and go and drink it on the quiet. And the result is that sometimes she would lose it, and other times she would lose self-control, etc., etc. So Mrs. A, in growing up in this household, it is that she had to take control and had to manage mom. Okay, now just look at this. She had to take control and she had to manage mom. When she was managing mom and helping mom through the various episodes of her not coping, dad's going to come home, it's going to cause another problem, there's going to be more fights in the house, there's going to be all sorts of things. So it is that she used to do many kinds of things at home so as to smooth things over, so that when dad comes home, etc., etc., that it is that it would either limit the fight or that a fight could be bypassed completely. Okay, on the thing. Now, in the process, Dad had experienced many kinds of episodes like this with Mom, and he eventually developed a deep distrust of his wife because she was always hiding these things around. And he used to say to her, "You never trust anybody." And so she experienced this thing because Mom, she would say to Mom that, "Mom, you must stop this." And then Mom used to promise, I'm so sorry, my darling, I'm going to stop this right now. And then tomorrow, it's the same event, okay? And the same thing that happens. So what did Mrs. A take on about herself? She cannot trust other people, okay? And that she has to look after people. Now, if she looks after people and she cannot trust people, if she looks after them, then it means that they will love her. Okay, one thing. So, this whole issue in her, she needs to look after and she needs to take control. Now remember, this is in your energy field and this becomes your attraction. Okay, so now comes later on in life, she's looking for a partner. What is the kind of partner that she attracts to herself? Mr. B, and Mr. B is the one who wants to be looked after. Okay, and this whole process now goes on, and eventually she's got to the stage, and this is how I came across them as a client. She got to the stage that she was tired of doing this and tired of the lack of progress with him for him to do something for himself. Okay? Can you see how these things work in all of us? Okay?
Very important.
It's a very, very important thing, okay? And that's what happens with everybody. Okay, on the thing. And that is when I explained it in the last video, when I was talking about the subconscious mind, I made a picture like that. I say the strengths and the weaknesses and the strengths and the weaknesses. Just look at how these two match that couple. Exactly like that. And that's what we all do, okay? Now it is they are busy growing slowly out of this thing. And the fortunate thing is that they are growing out of it together, which makes a huge difference, kind of thing. And so it also means that there's a lot of honesty that has to come out in the healing process for both sides on this thing. Okay, I think that that more or less wraps up what it is that I wanted to explain in this video. Have you ladies got any questions or any insights or understandings or words of wisdom for the viewers to be able to see this or understand it?
The biggest lesson for me was not to take something on and to understand that nobody's reaction has got anything to do with me, because usually when a person reacts or controls or verbally abuses you, immediately you take it on, and then you feel, but something's wrong with you. And like you said, it's really important to understand that the issue becomes your attraction in a relationship, and then it comes as a surprise. Hey, he's exactly like my dad. Why? And then you're like, men are all stupid. It's not about that. It's about the lesson that the universe is putting into your face to learn from. This is the lesson that's yours to change it, to grow from. I think it's extremely important to grab this and understand this, because every single body is going through this. Exactly. And if you don't understand it, play it again. Play it again. It took me a long time to snap it. You know?
So,
So
It can happen over and over until you realize, and it gets worse and worse until you're actually
yes.
so tired that you can't,
Why is this boyfriend the same? Why are they attracted to the same thing? Because you need to turn it around and learn and grow together out of it.
exactly. Exactly. But you raise a very, very important point for which I didn't perhaps mention, is that when this is triggered in you, then it's you and your reaction. Okay. And you would become perhaps angry, or you'd become volatile about something, or you get really upset and you storm off and you go and crawl into the bed or crawl into the cupboard or whatever it is. Okay. This is your reaction, and it is for you to sort out in you. Okay. Now,
How did I
likewise,
know
yeah.
what
Now,
was triggered?
yeah. Okay. Now, likewise, when somebody else is having a reaction from something that you said, it's got zip to do with you. It's got everything to do with them.
So
But
it's like
also,
a mirror.
Yeah. So
but
it means
also,
that you don't have to respond to them and their reaction. You can just be you, and then say, well, I understand that you're having a reaction to this thing. Can we talk about it without you becoming really upset? Can you take whatever the thing is that's triggering you, assuming that they understand, okay, whatever the thing is that's triggering you, can you park that? And then can we now have a clear discussion between you and me? Likewise, when it is that you get triggered, okay, and you develop this understanding of the trigger in you, then it is you can take this thing and park it on the side over there, sort of over there, okay? And when you can do that, you can disassociate yourself from that, and now you can have this interaction with this person, and that is what a functional human being does. Okay, on a thing. When you finished with all of that, you can say to that one, now come here. Okay, and now you sit and you have a look at, or you go into contemplation, or you go into meditation, or you go into whatever it is, or you make contact with somebody to talk it out, and you say, this is my reaction. What is the thing that is triggering me? Can you help me to sort it out? Or can you go in and have a look? Where did this trigger in me? Where is the first time that this thing happened in me when I was a little boy or a little girl, okay, in my lifetime? When did this happen? And that is the clue for you to go and have a look at. What did you take on about yourself when this thing happened? Okay, really, really, really crucial for all of us to understand.
But then it's also important to acknowledge what your issues are.
yes,
And
and
how
how
do
to
people
review
know? Because
yourself.
then they know what to work on themselves. So you need to know what they are.
How do I look at my own reaction? Why was I triggered? What about, like you just said, what about what happened with this? What did I take on? Why, as an adult, did I react to this and it actually upset me inside? How do I review myself? Why do I go ask myself, okay, what really bothered me? That's kind of difficult to do, and I must say, Peter, to realize, okay, I overreacted a bit. I actually feel stupid. Maybe I should say sorry. But why do you say sorry? Do you really understand what triggered you? I think
Okay,
to go
so yeah,
and understand
so
why, but you don't know how to review yourself.
Because you don't know what it is.
okay, so let me give you some a trick, okay, and this is a very very simple trick, and it's a process that helps most people, but it is sometimes, I do admit, very difficult to self-analyze. But the thing is that once you've done it a couple of times, you're going to start to see it, okay, on the thing. So the trick works like this. You having a reaction to something, okay? Now, when you have this reaction, it generates a feeling in your body somewhere. Okay, and this feeling could be here in the throat, or could be in the chest, or be in your solar plexus, or could be in your head. It could be, I've had them everywhere. Okay, on the thing. And then I say, well, what does this feeling feel like? So let's say that this feeling is a feeling that you got here, and it felt something like that. Okay, on the thing. And I say, okay, fabulous. So it feels like that. Okay, now in this part of our body, what do we generally do? This is where it is that we speak from. Okay, so when it felt like that, I want you to take that feeling, that thing, okay, show it with your two hands. What does it feel like? This is a whole gesture. And this is the thing that you take, and then you project it into the corner of the room or somewhere where it is that you can objectively look at. Okay, now what are we doing? When we take that, this feeling that you got like that is nothing else other than this that is being triggered in you. Okay, on the thing. You take that feeling and you put it over there in the corner of the room, and you look at that and say, now, what is the story that was going on then, and how old was I? Well, I was 5 years old. And what were you doing in 5 years old? Well, I was playing with my friends, and then mom called me for lunch, and I didn't listen, and mom shouted at me, and I felt so bad, and then I came in. So what did you take on about yourself? I wasn't listening to mom, or I don't obey authority, or I find that mom's always interfering in my life, and she's always controlling me and never giving me a chance to actually play. Okay, something like that. So what is it? The feeling then is that, perhaps women in authority are abusive. Whatever it is, okay? Or that mom doesn't care about me playing with my friends, whatever. Okay, on the thing. Have a look at that from an objective point of view, because that objective side of whatever it is, it's the same trigger that's happening between you and this person. So have a look at what is the similarity between the two for you, and that becomes this thing for you to look at and to resolve. Does that make sense? Okay, it's such a simple process, but it is such a profound process to do.
Yeah, because you know where it's coming from, how you actually
and then
live
you
life,
practice
and how
it.
you deal in relationships and communicating with people and all of that.
Exactly that. Exactly that. Okay. Any other questions or any other insights? And thank you for that. That was very, very useful.
Yeah, I think the more you practice it, the more naturally it's going to become. First you know it, then you have to physically practice it, and then just somehow, with all these kind of lessons that you go through with Peter, you know it, you acknowledge it, and then you're kind of stuck in, okay, but how do I physically do it? How do I practice it? And then just somehow, the more you read it, the more you take it in, the more you attract it, the easier it just becomes. And then it becomes naturally like driving a car. And that's the shift, that's the growth that you're looking for.
Exactly. Exactly. That's the growth. Okay, ladies, thank you so much. I really enjoyed this session with you. I look forward to the next one. And the next one is going to be on a similar basis, but now involving sexual abuse. What are the tissues that many of you that have been through sexual abuse, what are the tissues that you take on? So I use this as a guideline, okay, on thing. So I look forward to discussing that with both of you. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.